Since we have all the participants and our presenters here today, and it's already 6:30, I would like to start today's side event. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the official side event of COP27, the potential of REDD+ as a cooperative approach and the need for capacity building, co-hosted by Korea for Service, International Cooperative Organization, and Sokha Gakkai International. My name is Hanayu, Deputy Director of Korea for Service, and I'll be working as a moderator for today's event. As you are very well aware, Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement establishes a new framework for cooperation among countries to meet their nationally determined contribution targets. With the rulebook completed last year, more and more countries and interests are drawn to Paris Agreement Article 6.2. And REDD+ articulated in Paris Agreement Article 5 has a huge potential to be implemented as a cooperative approach. According to the 6th IPCC report, agriculture, forestry, and land use sector has the potential to mitigate up to 14 gigatons of carbon emission per year. That is almost 20-fold of what the Republic of Korea is emitting per year. With this being said, through this side event, we wish to recognize how much potential REDD+ has, and in order to realize this potential, what more is needed to build the capacity of relevant stakeholders. Through this side event, we wish to define the requirements for realizing progressive, inclusive, transparent, and sustainable REDD+. As a first order in place, let me invite Ms. Satkuru, Executive Director of ITTO, who kindly co-hosted this side event with us, for her welcome remarks. Can you please give her a round of applause?
A very good evening, friends and colleagues, and welcome you to the side event which I co-hosting together with the Korean Forest Service. I would like to express my fullest appreciation to the Korean Forest Service for our long-standing and well-established collaborative efforts over the years. I also congratulate the KFS for having hosted the World Forestry Congress in Seoul earlier this year in April, which was highly successful. And ITTO played a very active part in supporting a number of sessions and events in the beautiful city of Seoul. Now, our cooperation with Sokha Gakkai is another highly interesting partnership, which is relatively young compared to our partnerships with other collaborators in our sphere of work that we have conducted for many, many years. However, there are several of our efforts between our partners, which includes Sokha Gakkai and the Korean Forest Service, that actually fits in with the Seoul Declaration that was released at the end of the Korean Forest Service, and the importance of nature-based solutions to climate change, biodiversity loss, hunger and poverty. And what we tend to support is that action is needed now. In fact, we don't just support that, we call for it. Action is urgent. We need to move forward and find the best ways in which we can optimize the potential of several of the innovative methods that have come forward through many other mechanisms, but also cooperation through the REDD+ mechanism and forest-based disaster risk reduction, research and development sector. We held our 58th session of the International Cooperative Approaches last week in Yokohama. And one of the clear messages that came out of the Markets Day discussion was the importance of carbon capture, trading, credit sharing, etc. It was a key message which it retains, sorry, I'm so sorry. We've had a long day and I'm not very clear at this point. It retains the benefits of the carbon markets which needs to fit in with the priorities of both the emitters as well as the sinks and the beneficiaries. The mechanisms still, of course, need to be worked out. There are some out there already that have been piloted and tested, but the efficacy of each mechanism is something that in time will tell. We have a lot of geniuses in the forest sector and also from the climate change sector. And I think one of the key messages here is the importance of tropical forests to climate change and mitigation. REDD+ is only one of the solutions. There is no mechanism that can be the panacea to solving all the problems that surround forests and climate change. What disturbs us is that the reference to the forestry sector is pretty weak even at this talk. It wasn't so strong at the last talk either. And we need to accelerate recognition and acknowledgement of the contributions that forests do to the world of climate for a better life and planet. At the Glasgow Climate Summit in 2021, there was an agreement in the rulebook on the Paris Agreement, which allowed permits and the use of internationally traded mitigation outcomes, from cooperative approaches for meeting nationally determined contribution targets of country parties. The mitigation outcome from REDD+ activities with the party's host approval can thus be used towards meeting another party's nationally determined contribution. So that's, in one way, a way of benefit sharing and responsibility sharing as well, of course. It opens a lot of doors, actually, for countries, not just the Republic of Korea, but also for any other party who is interested, and for the countries that are based heavily on the manufacturing industry, because these are the countries that will see the benefits of entering into mechanisms such as credit sharing or trading, maybe, if they can get that to work in a better way. So far, that hasn't really yielded the results that we expect to see. But for these to become a reality on the ground, it is important, of course, to build the capacities of all parties concerned, not just in the developing countries, but it also includes those in the developed countries. So the interface between science, reality, modalities, and of course forests and climate change needs to be accelerated ASAP. In all aspects of REDD+, planning and activities that bring them in alignment with the cooperative action as defined in Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, it calls for collaboration and partnerships. The REDD+ requires 4 vital elements of national strategy or action plans, forest reference emission levels, national forest monitoring systems, and safeguards. And this has to be taken on a phased approach, developing phase by phase, and scaled up eventually, incorporating capacity building as one of the key elements. The side event today, with all our great speakers who are on the panel right now, will highlight the potential of REDD+ as a cooperative approach and its specific method and modalities, along with exactly what type of capacity building and knowledge management is needed in order to realize progressive, inclusive, transparent, and sustainable REDD+ outcomes. With that, I hand the floor back to Madam Moderator. Thank you. And I wish all the speakers and the audience a wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Satkuru, for your insightful messages. I especially think that it's very in line with the theme of this talk, which is implementation. And I do fully agree that the forestry sector needs much more attention than it's getting right now. In the very next sense, we still have fierce negotiation going on in regards to Article 6, market mechanism. There are some details left to be decided, but the frame for market mechanism is almost established with the completion of Paris Agreement, Paris Rulebook last year in Glasgow. With that being said, I'd like to open today's discussion with the keynote speech. Dr. Lehan Kim, Senior Researcher from National Institute of Forest Science, who has been in negotiation for almost a decade and truly an expert in REDD+, will be delivering on REDD+'s cooperative approach under Article 6.2 and how Korea Core Service is implementing its REDD+ activities. And a little reminder that there is no remote control to change the slides, so could you please tell me when to change the slides so I can do them for you instead. Floor is yours.
Yes, I think we'll easy. Yeah. My name is Sheam. I work in the National Institute of Policy Science. I'm going to have a chance to present in here. This very exciting and all good speakers. Today I'd like to share the REDD+ cooperation approach under the Article 6.2 of the guidance document agreement and share some experience Korean Cooperative Service and this program. Then I prepared that three sectors with global emission gap and Article 6 in Paris Agreement and the first services for program. Yeah. Firstly, I'd like to check the global emission gap, then how handle the REDD+ in Article 6 has to be very shortly check the emission gaps through the 6S ITTO assessment report from my working group 3. Yes, AI6 by ITTO working group 3 reported unless there are immediate rapid and large-scale reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, meeting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius will be beyond reach. This can show that the several pathway of the NDC, the purple line, and with the limited warming to 1.5 and 2 degrees Celsius, which green and blue pathway. Also, you can see that the emission gap between 2013 at NDC and limit warming to 1.5 of the pathway. In the middle of the chart, you can see that the purple point that, and then we need to move going down to limit warming 1.5. That this means that we have in the range of the emission gas between NDCs and pathway for limiting warming 1.5 degrees Celsius, we from 16 to 26 in the both conditional and unconditional target. This means that we have to make very ambitious target, which is higher or maximize 7 times better than current 2013 NDCs. This is why the Article 6 needed to be Paris ratio. Yeah, so we look at Article 6 in Paris law. Yeah. Look at the part 1 of the Article 6.2 in the Paris Agreement. Some parties to process regulatory cooperation in the implementation of their NDC to allow for higher emission in their mitigation. And then the IPCC working with 3 AR6 report, they also reported that the annual renewable amount is 4.2 to 7.4 gigatons annually by some conservation, improvement, and restoration, especially reduce deforestation in tropical areas. Also, the other entities have reduction and lower removals, potential agency below. Right, this is how to find the word red plus in the document under the Article 6. However, Article 6.2 and 6.4 mechanism including emission reduction, also removals. So as you know that the red plus has 5 activities. So the qualification and first degradation should be belongs to emission reduction activities. And then conservation and sustainable forest management and enhancement of carbon capture in forest, that is, these kind of activities also belong to the renewables. Yes. I try to explain it very simply. And for reduction measure for REDD plus can be used both in the 6.2 cooperation approach and in the voluntary market. And I said about the 6.4 mechanism in this presentation. However, depending on the purpose of use, national authorization and corresponding adjustment may or may not be required. Internationally transferred mitigation outcomes, we call ITTOs, can be used for 3 purposes. First thing is reduction achievement that can be used to achieve national economic contribution. But in this case, that must be produced through a cooperation approach or 6.4 mechanism. And then second purpose is that the international mitigation purpose is that representative of cohesion, which can be implemented by utilizing the reduction produced by through 6.2 approach. And eligible voluntary market through the follow the red line. And lastly, other purpose, it is expected that the transfer and utilization will be possible without national authorization or corresponding adjustment for carbon neutrality or ESG for private sector. However, carbon credit is in this loosely managed in voluntary market, so there are some concerns, looks like the green ones. So at least the emission reduction credits in the voluntary carbon market should be adjusted so that the host country does not duplicate the use that reduction result in and out. And then I'd like to share that some information how much potential we have for under the REDD plus mechanism and the voluntary market. So this slide is the current space of a virtual framework for REDD plus. This framework operated by UNFCCC as like CDM. And there are 64 REDD plus parties including, and then actually that for 13 parties, they have already approved the result, emission result from the UNFCCC. And then yes. And then we can see that the potential of the REDD plus, the total reduction amount is that over than 10 gigaton CO2 during the 2006 to 2020. And then annual reduction amount is that around 1 gigaton CO2 at the same period. But we have to remind that this amount produced by only 13 countries. At the previous slide, I said that the 64 parties participate in the REDD plus mechanism, but this amount only 13 parties produced. So the meaning is that the potential of the Warsaw REDD plus framework that can produce some more amount to NDC. We can use that for NDC and other purposes. Yeah, and then we think about that potential of the voluntary carbon market. In spite of the voluntary carbon market, they expected the carbon market could produce some more carbon credits from their playground, and then in the REDD plus and then forest sector activities, there is more amount better than other sectors. Looks like the left side. And then next please. Yeah, this is information about Croatia. Croatia just selected some eligible carbon credits from the voluntary market. We can see that the up and then car and the gold standard and pieces like that. This kind of organization, they produce REDD plus credit from their own scheme. Next please. And then, but I don't want to skip 6.8 of the articles Paris Agreement because that 6.8 the purpose is that to assist in the implementation of their national diplomatic contribution. So we can support to developing country to promote mitigation and adaptation of emissions, and also enhance public and private sector participation in the implementation of their NDC. So we never separated that 6.2 and 6.8 mechanism approaches in Article 6 in Paris already. Yes, this chart is explained to how 6.8 linked to 6.2. Yes. As we know that REDD plus has 3 things. One is readiness, phase 2 is implementation, and 3 is full implementation. I think that 1 and 2 things can be divided in the 6.8 approaches. So in this area, we can many activities and many support to developing countries through the green food. And then, if they have they get the capacity to mitigation project under the 6.2, we move to the mitigation cooperation with the country. So two-step approaches, we can see between the 6.8 or 6.2. Yes, and then next is Korea's program. Currently, the KFS is implementing small-scale parallel medical project in Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos. And then, in case of Cambodia, the project period is 9 years, and in case of Cambodia, it brought initial carbon credit amount to 605, sorry. 650,000 CO2 tons as an initial output from the project. And then now Cambodia is in the process in the second monitoring for and second verification phase. And Myanmar, the Red Cross project from 2016 to 2006 next year. And then this project has designed a jurisdictional and nested Red Cross. So we can add district, and this in the borders in the nesting. So in the Myanmar case, that document registration in the process. And then Laos, the Red Cross is from 2018. In this status is developing project document. And also, not only for carbon reduction, so we KFS think about that another social and environmental activities. That is promoting community forestry, and then protect illegal logging, and then we try to find alternative incomes. And then, next please. We don't want to forget biodiversity. So, in case of Cambodia, the project found 91 species to be considered, and then of the 90 species, at least 11 of these are classified and under one of the IUCN levels. Yeah, so KFS, we think about that some element is we try to sub-national project. We try to scale them up in the developing country and building cooperation with various countries. And then the capacity building with all the stakeholders, and then contributing to international initiatives. So, in subnational activities, this will be our first design for subnational Red Cross in Laos PDR. We have to conduct a feasibility study, and baseline is somewhat low. So I hope that this would be the first ITTO to be made clear to the BTR in 2020. Another way we go is to join LEAP coalition. The LEAP is the LEAP was launched through the Climate Leaders Summit last year, actually in the order to mobilize public and private climate finance, around 1 billion, to halt tropical and subtropical deforestation and forest degradation. So the KFS contribute will be utilized for the resource-based payment for subnational implementing countries. And then some days ago, KFS and the Commission have confirmed that the cooperation. Next, please. And then plenty of enterprise are showing that they are interested in the Red Cross with diverse and such as achievement of net zero goal and management of ESG, generation of profit, the sales also. So in Korea, many private sector company they think about that and then possible to use that emission reductions from Red Cross. So we sharing some information for Red Cross and what's going on for in Red Cross space. Next please. Lastly, we will endeavor to cooperate with the real Red Cross in order to make a capacity building platform as an information exchange hub by developing and revising real Red Cross warning journals, and designing and conducting training programs and holding networking events. This kind activities are also we had a signing event in this part 26. Thank you very much. And this pictures is designed by WWF, but I think that these pictures are very clear transfer to what Red Cross is. So please remember these kind of pictures. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kim, for your keynote presentation. I think it definitely highlighted there are a lot of uncovered potential for RED+. As you have explained, the importance of RED in accordance with Warsaw RED+ framework is, cannot be stressed enough. And one of the biggest interests of global society is to transfer the mitigation outcome that's produced from RED+ to internationally transferred mitigation outcome. In other words, in that sense, JCM is definitely one of the, if not the only, the earliest and innovative mechanism to produce an exchange of views. It's a bilateral mechanism between Japan and developing countries to develop and implement greenhouse gas reduction projects. For that, I would like to invite Dr. Yasumasa Hirata to elaborate on JCM, especially lesson learned from the JCM RED and the potential of JCM RED under the Paris Agreement. Please, could you give a big round of applause to invite Dr.
Yeah, thank you very much for a wonderful introduction. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Yasumasa Hirata, and I'm the director of the RED+ and Forestry DRR Research and Development Center at the Forestry and Forest Product Research Institute, Japan. Our Research Development and Research Center previously we called RED Research and Development Center, but now we are the forest-based disaster risk reduction and adaptation. So now we conduct the research on mitigation and adaptation. Today I would like to introduce Japan's JCM RED+. As you know, at COP15 of the UNFCCC, it was decided that RED+ will be implemented at the national level. However, there are capacity and financial issues, including human resources, to initiate actual RED+ activities at national level. And deforestation and forest degradation will continue to increase while we wait for this to happen. Therefore, it is recommended to initiate project-based activities. Next slide, please. To promote project-related activities, Japan has established and are operating a joint crediting mechanism, namely JCM. The basic concepts of the GSM are to contribute to the sustainable development of developing countries and other countries by promoting the diffusion of advanced decarbonization technologies, products, systems, service, and infrastructure, and the implementation of mitigation actions. Second, to assess Japan's contribution to the reduction and removal of greenhouse gas emissions in a quantifiable and appropriate manner, and to help Japan achieve its emission reduction targets. And finally, to contribute to the ultimate goal of the UNFCCC by promoting global action for the reduction of the removal of greenhouse gas emissions. Next slide, please. To date, we have signed bilateral documents to initiate the GSM with 24 countries, and are currently in discussions with other developing countries and others using various forums. Next slide, please. GSM registration consists of three processes. They are methodology development, project registration, and credit assurance. Representative participant of GSM project shall conduct measurement, reporting, and verification, of course MRV, of the greenhouse gas emission reduction realized after installation and commissioning of facilities and equipment for the issuance of GSM credit. Next slide, please. The joint committee between Japan and partner countries play an important role in the GSM registration process. The joint committee decided through dialogue on the formulation of rules and guidelines, approval of methodologies, and registration of projects, notification of credits, and designation of third-party entities to perform validation and verification. So next slide, please. REDD is one of the potential sector of GSM that we have introduced so far. Japan can contribute to emission reductions through the implementation of GSM REDD Plus projects in response to ongoing deforestation and forest degradation in the developing countries. Of course, the reduction of removal of greenhouse gas emissions achieved by the project must be evaluated through MRV. Through this process, credits are generated, and the generated credits are distributed according to their contribution. Next slide, please. When we conduct the GSM REDD Plus, the expectation for partner countries side acquiring upfront funding for REDD Plus, especially from the private sector, conservation of forest resources and ecosystems, and capacity building and enhancement of local livelihoods. On the other hand, for Japan's side, the expectation of implementation of GSM REDD project acquiring GSM credit for Japan's target, and that credit may also be incentives for the private sector to participate in the GSM. Next slide, please. Currently, 3 countries are in the process of implementing project under GSM REDD Plus. Cambodia and Laos are in the process of registering their project. Vietnam, on the other hand, is in the process of developing its methodology. Next slide, please. In Cambodia, the REDD Plus methodological guidelines have been adopted in May 2018, and the proposed methodology for REDD Plus was approved in February 2020. The proposed project design document has been submitted to the Sheam committee in September 2021, and the call for public input had taken place from October to November 2021. Now it has been in the process of project validation by the third-party entity. Next. By the way, Cambodian project site is implemented next to the Korean projects. Sorry. In last PDR, the REDD Plus guidelines have been adopted at the Joint Committee in October 2019, and the proposed methodology for REDD Plus was approved in May 2022. And finally, in Vietnam, the Joint Committee consented to initiate a consultation on the JCM REDD Plus guidelines. Both sides are under discussion how to have a consultation with the REDD Plus guidelines. Next, please. Since JCM REDD Plus in Cambodia is currently the most advanced, I will briefly introduce its methodology. The title is Reduction, Deforestation and Forest Degradation through Forest Conservation in Cambodia. Project activity targets on forest conservation activities such as forest management and community livelihood development, including agriculture improvement, ecotourism development, marketing of non-timber forest products, and formation and strengthening of community groups that lead to REDD Plus. Next. Two options have been identified to establish the project reference level. First option is applying the national forest reference level transition probabilities from forest to non-forest class only to the project area. The second option is applying all the national forest reference level transition probabilities among classes that would result in emissions to the project area. Next, please. In implementation of JCM REDD Plus project, it is very important how we decide the geographical boundary, because it's strong effect on the results. In the methodological guideline, project area is defined as the forest area to be conserved in the project fulfills the national definition of forest designated by the partner country. Reference area is defined as the area used to when establishing the project reference level. It is similar to the project area regarding the drivers of deforestation and/or forest degradation, landscape configuration, socio-economic and cultural conditions, and include the area where deforested recently. The activities of JCM REDD Plus should be evaluated following the definition of the area. Okay, so final slide, please. The Paris Agreement stipulates that each party should develop and maintain a nationally determined contribution for greenhouse gas emission reduction. In addition, Article 6 of the Paris Agreement provides for the market mechanism for international trading of emission reduction in order to promote efficient global greenhouse gas reductions. This provision of Article 6 of the Paris Agreement is expected to enable countries to promote more efficient and additional reduction. In fact, more than 120 countries mentioned the use of Article 6 in their NDCs. Some experts estimate that the introduction of Article 6 could lead to additional global CO2 emission reduction of up to 9 billion tons by 2030, and the effect of its introduction and attracting attention. So REDD Plus project also one option in this context. So thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hirata, for your presentation. I think JCM really paves the way and is a model for REDD Plus cooperation in other countries as well. Like you all know, one of the 4 prerequisites of REDD Plus is ensuring its safeguards. REDD Plus should be socially inclusive in the sense that it should reflect the opinion and the perspective of relevant stakeholders, especially indigenous people, ethnic communities, women, and youth. We all know that without the consent and compliance of the people living within the forest or depending on the forest, the program cannot possibly last. With that being said, I'd like to hear how women can play a great role in REDD Plus program from Ms. Cecile NDJEBET from African Women's Network for Communities Management of Forest. She also is a winner of Wangari Maathai Forest Champion this year. Please welcome her with a big round of applause.
Thank you so much. Yeah. We're going to share how empowering women in forest landscape restoration and REDD Plus intervention, improving women's life in 2 countries. We have chosen to share what is happening in Togo and in Cote d'Ivoire. Next, please. So we're going to present very briefly the network I'm working with, and we've given also a short background on women in forest landscape restoration in Africa. Then we'll go into the women-led forest restoration initiative, and as I was announcing, we'll share one in Togo and the next one in Cote d'Ivoire, and some key lessons we have learned from that, and a conclusion. Next, please. So what is the African Women's Network for Community Management of Forests, REFACOF? We have our motto, securing women's forest and land property rights. This is a network that was created in May 2009 in Yaoundé. We had the opportunity to participate to the international conference that was organized by ITTO with the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife of Cameroon and other partners. And during that conference, we were lucky to have 20 delegates from 10 countries in Africa, and we decided to create this network that will serve as an advocacy platform focusing on African women's tenure rights on land and forest tenure. Our mission is to promote women's rights in Africa and advocate to shape policies and practices for gender equity in relation to land and forest tenure. Next, please. REFACOF has 4 main intervention areas and 5 strategic pillars. For the intervention areas, we have the capacity building, we have tenure reforms, advocacy and experience sharing, and women's economic empowerment. And these intervention areas are translated into action through these strategic pillars: the promotion of reforms for equitable tenure arrangement for rural women, influencing land and forest tenure agendas and initiatives at sub-regional, regional and national level, support for rural women's forestry entrepreneurship, REDD+ and climate change, and institutional strengthening of the network and exchange of experiences. Next, please. And this is the map that shows the 20 countries that are part of the network. You will see it right from West Africa to Central Africa, and we have Madagascar as a founding member. It's the only one in that side of that part of Africa. Next, please. Women in the forest landscape restoration in Africa. Sharing some background information. It's very important for us to know that women represent more than 50% of the population in most countries in Africa. And women produce just over 70% of the food in Africa. They have a good knowledge of the importance of forests and their livelihood, and that of their families and communities. And for them, for women, the forest is source of food, of income, medicines, is a home for them, cultural practices and beliefs. And they are also the largest group of forest users and tree growers in Africa. They are involved in tree nursery, tree planting. They plant in humid terrestrial ecosystem as well as on mangrove restoration. They are involved in the collection of non-timber forest products. They are also leading non-timber forest products exploitation in many countries in Africa. Women also have a good knowledge of managing their environment, and their traditional practices are more sustainable than that of men. For example, while men are interested in timber, women are interested in fruits, leaves, barks, etc. They don't cut off trees. Even for the firewood, they collect the dead wood which they found in the forest. Women also have faced many challenges in the forestry and related sectors that limit their roles and contribution to forest landscape restoration. We have, for example, tenure insecurity, access to finance and other capital, access to credit, no funding mechanisms, access to decision making. These are few of the challenges that they face. What women are doing in landscape, forest landscape restoration in Africa. We have 2 initiatives, one in Togo, still going on, thanks to Soka Gakkai and ITTO who have funded it. We have benefited from financial support from Soka Gakkai through ITTO. And this funding was directed to women's group for the restoration of degraded forest landscape in 2 prefectures in Togo. One is in Blita and the other one is Lac, the prefecture of Lac. And it's also good to understand that usually women have access to degraded land, not the valued land. So you will see that the activities are to restore the degraded forest landscape. The main specific objective of this initiative is to strengthen the technical and material capacities of local women's structures in the reforestation and restoration of degraded forest landscape. The first phase of this initiative was 12 months in 2021, and the second phase, which is ongoing, is also 20 months. The main result from phase 1, which is completed, is that we have 100 women from 7 groups that were trained on 3 nursery establishment and management, and also on reforestation and agroforestry techniques. We have nearly 30,000 seedlings that was produced out of with 13 forestry species for restoration, reforestation, or restoration operations. 8 hectares of forest tree planting were planted with using the Tungia method, and 12 hectares of agroforestry plantation that were associated with food crops like corn, beans, peanut, soybean, sorghum were established. So this is the first year result that we have registered during this first period in Togo. And what is next, please? And what are the impacts of this initiative? The impact is that women have acquired seedling production skills, and they are able now to produce seedlings themselves on their own, and they are to support their needs, but also those of their communities. Women also produce good quantity of food that help them to meet their household food needs, but they also sell the surplus that was produced, and that has provided them with substantial income, and they contributed also in the group saving account in their village. The beneficiaries women also have improved their livelihood and diversified their sources of income through the sale of food products and seedlings. And in the long term, they will produce sustainable timber and improve their access to fuel wood. The beneficiaries group also have improved their visibility at the regional, prefectural, and even national level, and they are now recognized as a model for the contribution of women in the production of seedlings and restoration. When you go to Togo now, you don't need to go to the prefecture of Hirata or the prefecture of Lak. Even in Togo itself, in the capital, they will be talking about this group of women. So their visibility has really grown up. The project has also made it possible to strengthen social cohesion and initiative taken by the women beneficiaries, which will promote the sustainability of the project achievement. So this is a great impact for 1 year project in this prefecture, in these 2 prefectures, thanks to Sowagakai and ITTO that made that possible. And we are really grateful for them, and we are very happy with what is going on in Togo. Next, please. Go to share what has gone on out in Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire had a financial support from the government of Japan through ITTO, and the support was to Malibi Women's Group in Côte d'Ivoire to increase the forest cover of the Hawa classified forest with the involvement of surrounding local communities. The Hawa forest was attributed to this women's group by the government of Côte d'Ivoire, and the government of Japan through ITTO funded that group to restore this forest because it was a degraded forest. As I earlier said, women have less access to valuable forests. Usually, if they can, usually it's a degraded forest. The main specific objective was to support the rehabilitation of 100 hectares of the Hawa forest, classified forest, with the participation of Malibi women to sustain charcoal and firewood production. And this initiative was for 20 months and it's already completed. And I would like to share the main results that we could get from this initiative. 19 women's groups were trained on tree nursery establishment and management and on creation and maintenance of agroforestry plantation techniques. A total of 86,400 seedlings of two forest species, notably the teak and the cassia, were produced for reforestation and restoration purposes. 100 hectares of forest were reforested in the Hawa classified forest with cassia and teak, but also in association with food crops, especially cassava, maize, and some vegetables. These are the main results that we have got from this initiative. Now I would like to share the impacts. Next, please. What were the impacts? As we earlier shared with Togo, the impact was also great. Women have acquired skill of seedlings production, nursery establishment, and agroforestry plantation management. They also produce good quantity of food that help them to meet their household food needs, and they also sold the surplus and had substantial income. These women have improved their livelihood and diversified their sources of income through the sale of food products. And they have also developed a sustainable charcoal business and have improved their access to fuel-based energy. The beneficiaries group have improved their visibility as well at the national and also at international level, and they are today recognized as a model in forest restoration and sustainable charcoal production. Next, please. And because of this initiative, the government have extended the partnership agreement between SERFOR and Malibi for a period of 10 additional years. So the Hawa classified forest has been now integrated into the Forest Investment Program in Côte d'Ivoire, which is financed by the World Bank. And you can see that gender also has been mainstreamed in agroforestry activities by replicating the result of the project in other regions of Côte d'Ivoire. Today, Malibi is covering 3 additional regions because of this project. And the women access to land also and forest has improved thanks to the allocation of Hawa classified forests to Malibi by SERFOR. SERFOR is the forest development organization. And improved women's income also and standard of living led to a positive influence in the household, families, and communities. Some of the women now have even become the councillor in politics. During the election and they have really improved their status in the society. Yeah. And the project has made also, as in Togo, the project has made it possible to strengthen social cohesion and initiative taken by the women beneficiaries. And the sustainability of the project achievement are being promoted, as we have just shared. The agreement has been extended. The forest, the Malibi group is now in other regions of Côte d'Ivoire. So these are the key impact that we have been able to share with you on this initiative. Next, please. What are the key lessons we learned from this too? What we can share like key lesson is that women are really the key actors in restoration of the ecosystem and they must be supported. The second lesson is that to be sustainable, landscape restoration must be accompanied by income generating activities to contribute both to the improvement of forest landscape but also to the improvement of women's living conditions. The third lesson is that the restoration of degraded forest areas can be considered as a strategy to improve women's tenure rights, because when they have been attributed degraded land and they reforest those land, it's likely that the land becomes to their own property. Usually they don't wrap it up anymore. And we have also seen that the agroforestry is a system that allows women to diversify their source of income and improve food security while improving forest landscape. This is a system that was really chosen by women. Is their best system in the landscape restoration process. Next, please. In conclusion, we see that the two initiatives have very positively impacted women and so far are highly contributing to the sustainable management of forests in Togo and in Côte d'Ivoire. On behalf of the African rural women, REFACOF thanks ITTO, Soka Gakkai and the government of Japan for their technical and financial support. Deep gratitude to the women, from the women of REFACOF Togo, especially to the financing of the second phase by Soka Gakkai. I just shared that we are in the second phase, is ongoing. It's also a 12-month phase, and everything is going very well in the field. I would like also to recall that African women are committed to planting 20 million trees on the continent as their contribution to restore degraded ecosystem, which will provide multiple benefits for people and for the planet. And this commitment was officially made in Seoul in May 2022, as REFACOF was granted the Wangari Maathai Champion Award 2022. Because I'm there as Cecile, the award is really for the African women that have contributed to that. So this is an award of REFACOF, and I'm so pleased to let that be known. And you are all invited, please, to join REFACOF in ways that are convenient to you in this noble effort of restoring the African forest. And this is an appeal also to financial donors to support African women in their fight, which is very useful for our environment. And I really, with this, thank you very much. Please share the next, because the next slide is just some photos of the initiative going on in the field. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Mrs. Cecile. It was very interesting to hear how forestry restoration project can be done in the perspective of a gender and woman. One of the biggest cause of greenhouse gas emission in the forestry sector is, of course, forest fires. With climate change, we're exposed to bigger forest fires and more frequently. In case of Indonesia, one of the biggest 3 tropical forests is situated and is one of exactly the 4th biggest country to have a huge scale of peatland. So their forest fire management is ever more important compared to other countries. And from what I understand, they are incorporating forest fire management with the PLUS framework. So now I'd like to invite Professor Bambang of Faculty of Forestry, IPD Bogor, to hear on greenhouse gas emission from forest fires in Indonesia. As he could not join here he could not come here in person, unfortunately. His presentation will be delivered through pre-recorded. As we have stressed enough how important REDD Plus and how much potential it has, now I'd like to hear what is needed to realize this potential. Especially building the capacity of relevant stakeholders is essential. And UN REDD program, a UN initiative dedicated to supporting the developing countries in their efforts to implement REDD, is here with us today to tell us what are the expected and required capacity building elements for Article 6.2. I'd like to welcome Dr. Gabriel Labat, Head of Climate Mitigation Unit and Global Team Leader of the UN Program Secretariat, for his presentation. Please give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. And since I have been seated for a long time, if you don't mind, I will stand up. Probably, yeah, what to do there. And okay, I know it's late. We are tired, so I'll try to go this relatively fast. Next, please. Last week we presented a report. As the gentleman was saying, the contribution of forests to mitigation is important. It could be anything between 4 and 6 gigatons to 2030. Now what we did is that we estimated how close we are, or how far we are from getting the first gigaton of emission reductions from forests. And the method was to see, because we work in REDD Plus, what was the volume of commitments from 2020, and what we got is that commitments, everything included, it's less than a quarter of a gigaton. Only half of those commitments have been reflected in a purchase agreement, or in a letter of intent, or in a letter of agreement of interest. So only 11% of a gigaton, 0 payments have taken place since 2020. I'm referring to jurisdictional REDD Plus, or a situation in which you have projects that are nested into a jurisdictional accounting. So the message is that we are grossly off track. As we were saying, the window to 1.5 is closing very rapidly. 2 degrees is also an ambitious target, and we need to speed up significantly. Next. So the theory of change of the UN program is that we need to set the right incentives for countries. That is going to be a combination of fair prices for its carbon and certainty of payments in the future, meaning if the country chooses to undertake emission reductions and expects to be paid, it will indeed be paid in due time. If that is in place, then integrity is key, equity is important, upfront investments crucial, and as I was saying, incentives in the form of prices and volume of payments is is a necessary condition. Next. With the support of the Korean Forestry Service, the UNRED program will begin in 2023. The program of capacity building on carbon markets on Articles 6.2 and 6.4. And we will do this through three main avenues of work. One is going to be a set of learning journals which we developed some time ago. We will update them to include carbon markets. We will have a series of labs to which you are invited. And we will conduct a series of dialogues among countries supported by knowledge products. Next, please. So in practice, what this will look like as we will have online a number of products, information products in a number of different formats. We will be conducting a series of in-person training on different aspects of carbon markets, to which you are also invited. And then we will also do in parallel a series of dialogues among countries on the different aspects of Article 6 carbon markets, with the intention actually of catalyzing, accelerating the speed of deals, be those bilateral or multilateral through platforms, or resolve payments and access to voluntary carbon markets. And I believe that next, this was the
Thank you, Dr. Magat, for your presentation. That is the end of the presentation that we've prepared today. Then I would like to turn to the floor for any questions that you might have from the presentation here today. Because of time constraint, I might be able to take one or two questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. It's 8 in the evening, and I understand there are no any more questions to be raised. So as there are no questions to be discussed on the floor, let me wrap up today's side event. As a final order, I would like to invite again Ms. Satkuru for her closing remarks. Please.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and a huge round of applause and gratitude to our wonderful speakers who have given us different aspects of how REDD+ can serve forests and humanity. So you have seen the different aspects as presented from the Korean Forest Service's point of view, from Japan's efforts through the FFPRI and the Ministry of the Environment, because the Ministry of the Environment is the one that houses the joint crediting mechanism. It is something that we have been discussing with them as well, in order to pay more attention to the role that forests can play, particularly tropical forests, as one of the most effective nature-based solutions in addressing climate mitigation and adaptation. And you heard from our champion for the Wangari Maathai Awards, one slight correction. That award was not for REFACOF. That award was for Madam NDJEBET and her efforts for all these years. She's very modest. Big round of applause. ITTO is very proud, of course, because we have been involved very much in the work of REFACOF, with the support from the government of Japan, mainly for the projects in Togo and the Ivory Coast, and she has shown how these projects are replicable and scalable, particularly with the Forest Investment Program from the World Bank, swallowing up the Ivory Coast projects and swallowing up the Ivory Coast projects, well done to Ivory Coast. And also Dr. Magat, very to the point, and I'm so grateful that he mentioned particularly the upfront funding, equity, access to funding, and the creation of incentives that benefits, particularly the beneficial countries such as wine, they should get involved in such mechanisms for their own good and for the good of the world. With that, I think I express my gratitude to all of you as well who have stayed with us until this late hour this evening, and I wish you buona continuazione, they say, which is a good continuation to the day and the evening. And again, thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Madam Moderator, as well.
I sincerely appreciate all of your participation here today, and hope we all had a wide range of insight and perspective from each other. Thank you again for your attention, and have a great evening. And before you leave, as a small thank you for the participation until the very late evening, we do have a small gift for you before you leave. So please take a small gift before you leave. And for the speakers here today, can we please take a group photo in the front of the podium?